Conby found himself in a vast and dark desert. He had certainly had his share of strange happenings this evening, but the thought of walking through the land of Tutankhamun was definitely challenging his last bastion of disbelief.
Arriving from the showroom through the sarcophagus, we knew we wanted to show the player a very grand and epic vista, and we added this small plateau as an overlook, and as you can see it's a really vast and epic desert we have here, and the dark sun creating the long shadows and the twinkling speculators in the sand is, to me, it's a very nice view.
The desert level is sprung out of the text from Jeremy's diary in the original game, where he writes, while describing a dream, "The night is pitch black, I am again drenched in sweat. I was wandering in dunes among giant standing stones." It is one of the two other worlds that show extremes. Most of the scenery we've seen so far, except for a brief visit to Taroea, everything has been taking place in New Orleans or Louisiana. But here we are in the desert, ready to descend into the Dark Man's sunken temple, and we are introduced to the story of the pharaoh.
The temple of Nephron-Ka lies under our camp. Despite all efforts, that unholy site did not collapse, but sink beneath the sand. The pharaoh is long dead, his name meticulously stricken from all ancient writing. But that stage meant for blood and terror remains. The temple is said to be lightless, built to harbor all the haunters of the dark found in the very depths of our universe. Calling on the gods meant creating a bridge between our world and theirs. The terrible Aldebaran of Taurus, the Black Sun, was seen as the most important star in the night sky, because, according to the Kitab al-Azif, it was said to be the home of that crawling chaos known as Nyarlathotep. Through ancient mechanisms, it was said that the priests could open shafts channeling the light emitted by that strange stone called the Shining Trapezohedron. Several streams pooled together above the statue of that dark man would then be sent through space towards the Black Sun, a message to the gods. The gifts bestowed on the sender are completely undocumented, but often assumed to involve dark blood pacts, where souls are traded for malicious miracles.
Nephron-Ka.
Here we go. A sunken desert temple.
The Dark Man's temple was buried beneath the sand, a cursed and dark place. Every step felt ill-considered. Conby needed to find the contract that Jeremy signed with the Dark Man and get the hell out of here before he went completely mad.
It's the star constellation. I got a feeling this is it. This is where the contract is hidden. But how do I get to it?
For the temple, we explored, or actually we went with having tilted walls, so they would be narrower up top, to create some kind of tension for the player, as well as it's a pretty nice symbolic design choice, because the shape of a pyramid as well. But we also have the large walls, which we filled with hieroglyphs inspired by the ancient Egyptians, and a direct reference to the Dark Man is the painted stone pattern as well.
There's something missing. Swing looks operational. It worked.
If you look at the statue of the Dark Man across the room, you can see his one hand making the gesture that Ruth makes when meeting Carnaby in the Maccabean. But most importantly, we find the same sign on the painting of Emily if you manage to unlock her cult ending. Of course, Emily then makes the same submission gesture to the Dark Man to join his fold, and that's how you trigger her cult ending. The sign is actually described in the original game in the text called Demonia Particularis, Signs and Rituals by Heinrich Kassel. And I remember as soon as I sort of read that, I was like, we're totally making something out of that.
collapse.
What is going on?
Acknowledge psychological trauma, breakthrough barriers of self-deceit, temperamental behavior. These are the Dark Man's terms. The contract. Huh?
Hey. Hey, detective? What are you doing?
Oh, I found some.
Great. Was it alcohol?
God, no, I just got the wind knocked out of me. I think I know how to break the contract with the Dark Man.
What exactly does that mean?
Everything going back to normal.
All right. I found some more information on Dorsetto and the patients. There are some seriously strange things going on here. I'm pretty sure 2 of the patients are dead and maybe even the clerk.
Oh, yeah. I kind of just gave up on worrying about that.
Well, just keep your eyes open, I suppose. What were you doing again?
Jeremy made a pact with the Dark Man to keep all the madness locked inside Dorsetto.
All right.
I'm gonna break it. I just have to... Where is it? Where's the talisman?
It's around your neck?
Ah!
I worry, Detective.
Don't. I'm fine.
I worry that you're not much help on this case. At least you're a good distraction.
Trust me. You're getting your money's worth. At this rate, I'm an absolute bargain.
Comby never thought he'd be so happy to be back at Dorsetto. It felt like he had crawled through a long, dark tunnel of misery and regret. Now that he was back, Comby could look into the steps mentioned in the contract. But there was one thing that gnawed on him. What exactly did this have to do with Dr. Gray?
Just what this evening needed. Some ambiance.
Got to be around here somewhere. He wouldn't leave this house.
I don't know what to think anymore. You run into that detective fella?
Who is he? Can he be trusted?
I think he one of the good guys. Or you know, like us.
Will he be all right with her coming? Praise the mother.
He don't need to know about all that. Just help Jeremy. Just calm down. Ain't time yet.
God, it hurts.
As far as I can tell, Detective Comby seems to be solving problems, not causing them.
Just be ready in case he starts anything.
The two orderlies still hadn't found Jeremy. Conby figured this was good news. The two orderlies still hadn't found Jeremy. Conby figured this was good news. Emily had reminded him about some strange deaths at Deseto, and Conby wasn't sure who he could trust.
Here we are in Chapter 4. We have returned to Deseto after being away in the other worlds for a while. The sun has set and the weather is getting worse. We just learned that Baptiste and Lottie are back in the house, and we put a little bit of suspicion on them, because this chapter is about getting the player to first become a little paranoid, but ultimately feel like their character has almost lost their mind.
After coming back to the Deseto, we have this night mood going, and besides the blue moonlight, we have used the green light, the green artificial light, as an amplifier to increase the amount of horror or nightmare mood, sort of.
We must have faith that Jeremy's pact with the Dark Man is a bluff. If we are lucky, our visitors will find him and prove it's all nonsense before night falls. What is true is our attempt to call on her. Too many things have happened for this evening to be in vain. Think of Jack and Cassandra, even Perosi, whose circumstances I can't understand. Grace is a goat without horns. She knows it and will play the role. You must talk to your brother, Baptiste. I worry that he will fail us. Mrs. Thompson.
Emily will have to die. We can't let her ruin our plans.
I don't want to run into the orderlies right now. Not sure I can trust them. I think Dr. Gray might be in there. Perfect time to snoop around his office, then.
Lunacy and the Astarte Artist Colony, a monograph by Yael Klein. In early 1909, the old Derceto plantation outside of New Orleans was turned into an artist's colony. 3 famous European artists rented the house and the surrounding land from the owner, the Ledoux family. The colony was chiefly run by Sebastian Cortez, who was playfully dubbed the captain by his collaborators, William Arges and Heinrich Kassel. The colony existed for 6 years, until one day all 12 members disappeared without a trace. It is widely believed that their disappearance is connected to the disastrous hurricane that passed through on September 29, 1915, but nothing truly supports this claim. What is known is their frequent participation in New Orleans nightlife, their love for hosting parties, and their elaborate contributions to the Mardi Gras parades as the Pirates of Pontchartrain. Accounts of their lifestyle can be found in almost every gossip column. It can effectively be summed up as carefree and bohemian. In late June 1909, the name Astarte first appeared in the newspapers. Cortez said the name came to him as he was painting. There is never any claim to knowing about the ancient Phoenician fertility goddess with the same name before this time. His fellow colonist Heinrich Kassel did know, because he later produced sculptures that show clear references to ancient idols of the goddess. It's impossible to know for sure how this name suddenly made an appearance, but it is interesting because of Derceto's history. Even the name Derceto is the Greek name of a Syrian fertility goddess. In the case of naming the plantation, Derceto was certainly not an accident. We know that Elijah Pickford intended to build a temple for his cult, for he had distributed pamphlets 2 years prior to the purchase of the land, advertising his intentions. His followers were estimated to be almost 100 men and women, mostly sailors, Maroons, and Cajuns, when the plantation was built. To outsiders, Derceto registered as an ordinary slave plantation, which enabled Pickford and his flock to remain hidden for decades. The official story is that the cult lasted until 1862, when the Union Army came and burned down the plantation and scattered all who lived there. Following the Civil War, new people started to congregate in the ruins of Derceto to invent a new fertility goddess, the Shub-Niggurath. As much as Derceto is a particular name to have heard of, it's not entirely uncommon among the learned. Astarte is equally known and could have been subconsciously chosen by well-read artists. Shub-Niggurath is, on the other hand, very uncommon. Almost impossible that anyone in Louisiana would have heard that name. The name is referenced only in rare books like Unaussprechlichen Kulten and the Necronomicon, and is believed to be a bastardization of Arabic words meaning pertaining to the dark young. The few paragraphs printed on the goddess are so upsetting that no one in their right mind would want to build a religion resting on such qualities. The Shub-Niggurath cult was hard to get rid of, but it is believed that despite the police jailing and killing several cultists over the years, the main culprit in the cult's demise is the cult itself, which seems to line up with every instance of cult activity on Derceto's grounds. When Captain J.W. Norton of the Union Army arrived, he described the people at Derceto as malnourished and maniacal. As much as the army tried to save them, they fought back with fervor, as if nothing was going to stop them from slowly destroying themselves. While the disappearance of the Astarte Artis colony remains a mystery, the recurring motif seems to suggest that their fate involved lunacy and a hunger for self-sacrifice to that fertility goddess with 1,000 names.
It's blocked.